From Spain to Denmark, a royal love without borders, Princess Leonor and Prince Christian. In the quiet chambers of royal palaces, traditions are expected, boundaries are defined, and the destiny of heirs seems carefully scripted. But what happens when two young royals from different nations dare to write their own story? A story that refuses to recognize borders, politics, or centuries of old expectations. From Spain to Denmark, Princess Leonor and Prince Christian have done the unthinkable. They have created a royal love that feels modern, genuine, and heartbreakingly human. It is not just a tale of crown jewels and glittering ceremonies, it is a saga of sacrifice, devotion, and a promise that love can still conquer all, even in a world bound by protocol. This is not the story you think you know. It is not a fairy tale fabricated for magazines or a spectacle designed for cameras. This is a love without borders, one that has silently but powerfully reshaped the way two monarchies look at the future. And once you hear the full truth, you will never look at either royal family the same way again. When Leonor of Spain first stepped into her role as heir, few imagined that her journey would cross so deeply with that of Christian, Denmark's young prince. Spain, with its deep-rooted traditions, looked at her as the daughter of King Felipe and Queen Letizia, the future monarch who would carry the Bourbon line into a new age. Denmark saw Christian as the young man who would one day stand beside his father, Crown Prince Frederick, and ascend to the throne. Two nations, two royal households, never meant to intertwine. And yet, fate intervened. The first spark was not an orchestrated arrangement, not a cold alliance of power, but something far more organic, almost cinematic. Leonor, reserved yet luminous, captured attention far beyond Spain's borders. Christian, equally admired for his charisma and quiet strength, was already under the weight of expectation. When they finally met in carefully guarded settings, whispers began, soft at first, then louder. Was this friendship? Was it diplomacy? Or was it something deeper, something neither family could easily control? What began as companionship soon evolved into something undeniable. Witnesses behind palace doors speak of subtle glances, shared laughter, moments of unspoken understanding. These were not the behaviors of two heirs fulfilling ceremonial duties. They were the gestures of two young souls connecting in ways that defied the rigid frameworks of monarchy. But with this connection came turbulence. Every move was scrutinized. Every interaction was dissected. Families that valued discretion suddenly faced an uncomfortable truth. Their heirs, their future monarchs, had found in each other something they could not orchestrate or forbid. A love that ignored centuries of distance. Spain's royal family, protective of Leonor's image, quietly debated the risks. Denmark's royals, equally cautious, weighed the political implications. Could such a union bind the nations more closely, or would it spark tensions that neither side desired? Behind the closed doors of palaces, heated conversations unfolded. Advisors warned of risks. Families reminded their children of duty. And yet, Leonor and Christian stood firm, their devotion quietly but steadily growing stronger. The more they resisted pressures to separate, the more their love became a statement. A declaration that they would not be pawns of history, but rather, authors of their own destiny. Each visit between the two was cloaked in secrecy. Each message exchanged carried the weight of both hope and risk. But still, they persevered. What sets this love apart is not just its defiance of expectation, but its extraordinary depth. Leonor, raised under the relentless gaze of Spain, learned early the price of visibility. Christian, equally aware of Denmark's watchful eye, understood what it meant to live for duty first. Together, they found something both had been missing: the freedom to be human. The freedom to love without fear, if only in fleeting private moments. And it is here that the true beauty of their story lies, not in the grand ceremonies or public photographs, but in the stolen instants that few will ever see. A whispered promise during a formal dinner. A brief touch of hands during official travel. A shared smile when protocol demanded stoicism. These are the threads of a love that has grown stronger precisely because it has had to endure in silence. But silence does not mean weakness. As months turned into years, this bond carved its way into the narrative of modern royalty. Newspapers speculated. Social media erupted. Admirers declared them the embodiment of a modern fairy tale, while critics dismissed it as youthful infatuation. And yet, through the storm of opinions, Leonor and Christian endured, proving that their story was not mere illusion. Today, as both step deeper into their adult roles, the love between them has evolved into something far more powerful than anyone anticipated. It is not only a personal connection, it is a bridge between nations. Spain sees in Christian a young man of respect and character. Denmark sees in Leonor a future queen of grace and resilience. Together, they symbolize a union that is not only emotional, but historical. The question that lingers is simple: where does this love lead? Will it culminate in a royal union that forever alters the European landscape? Or will it remain a private devotion, remembered only in the whispered histories of two royal houses? The truth is still being written. But one fact cannot be denied: this love has already reshaped the meaning of royal duty. Their story is a challenge to centuries of tradition, a reminder that beneath the crowns and titles are young men and women who dream, who yearn, who refuse to be bound entirely by obligation. And in a world where monarchy often feels outdated, Leonor and Christian's love has breathed new life into the very idea of royalty. As Spain and Denmark watch with anticipation, and as the world leans in closer with each headline, one thing is certain: their bond is no longer just personal. It is symbolic. It is the story of a new generation of royals, fearless, compassionate, and unafraid to place love at the center of legacy. From Spain to Denmark, across borders and traditions, this is more than a romance. It is a love that redefines what it means to be royal. A love that dares to cross oceans, challenge dynasties, and stand resilient against every attempt to suppress it. And perhaps, in the years to come, when history books are written, it will not be the wars or treaties that define this era of monarchy, it will be the simple, unyielding truth that love, even in the highest of palaces, knows no borders. And so, as the world watches, as critics speculate, and as supporters dream, one thing remains certain: Princess Leonor and Prince Christian have chosen not to live in the shadow of duty alone. They have chosen to write their own story. A royal love without borders.